Howdy doody, everybody. Welcome back to another Make It Monday with me, your host, Brandon Groce, and the one and only Ryan Schaefer from Wix Fix. What's going on, Ryan?
What's
And
going on?
everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. It's another Monday. We had a little chit chat in the back. We're like, it's been a long year. Guys, this will be the last Make It Monday, I believe, of 2023. So we are super excited to have had you all year, not only for the very few Make It Mondays we've had this year, but for what's to come in the future. But we've had an amazing community run in 2023. We've met a lot of cool people and had a lot of great friendships. So with that being said, guys, we're going to be doing a modern construction site with Ryan today, a full run through. I'm not going to steal any more of his time with my running mouth and the extra sugar I have in my blood because I ate a ton of chocolate almonds before this. And don't worry, I know I'm really purple today. It's just the lighting. It'll be fine next time. All right, Ryan, what are we jumping into today? And yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to be building a construction website. So again, I found a Figma file here. I've exported the assets and included them in the link. So if you guys want to follow along, you can. But this is what we're going to be building inside of Wix Studio today. So I'm going to move this off into my second screen. And I do want to note here in Wix Studio, I just kind of have the header and footer as images, just so we can focus more on the page sections. But let's go ahead and begin working on this first section here. This first section, we are going to make it about 800 pixels in height, and then we're going to add a background image. So let's go over to add media, and we're going to drag the hero BG out onto the page, and we'll stretch it. And then what I want to do is grab the header right here, and I'm going to set this position type from default to pinned, and that's going to overlay it or put the header over the hero section. And we have this little effect right here, and that looks pretty clean. I also want to grab this header, and we'll actually do a transition effect for the scroll effect for it. And what this is going to do is it's going to move it up. So when we scroll down the website, the header is going to disappear. And then as soon as we scroll back up, it's going to reappear, and it looks pretty clean. That way, as we scroll down on the page, since this is a transparent hero or header, we want to make sure that it's not invisible, I guess, on the other sections. Another option instead of the transition effect is we can actually do a fill color. So we can actually set the background as black, and now when we scroll down, it just has a black background, and now it's visible in all sections down below the hero section as well. But either way works for this. But for the hero section, what I want to do is actually choose or add some text. We're going to do a heading 1 text, and we're going to place it right about here. I want this to line up with the logo. So what I think I did here was I actually need to create like I need to add a container here real quickly. So we'll add a container. We're going to stretch it, and we're going to remove the background color. And then within this container, we're going to add some padding. So let's go to padding, and we'll do 5.3 VW. And then we will apply that to all sides. And you'll notice that our padding that we added basically lines up with the logo here and the button over here. I think that looks pretty clean. I will say for the top, we might need to do a little bit more because we don't want any content accidentally like appearing where the header is. So let's go ahead and grab the padding, and maybe we set like 10 to the top, just so we have that space like safe. And what I'm going to do is go to the layers panel. I'm going to grab that heading 1, and I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to press Command X on Mac, or you can Press the three dots and press cut. Then I'm going to click inside of the container and I want to paste it inside of the container. So that way it's not in the section, it's in the container. And we're going to send it to the left. Now for this text, I'm going to just copy this text from the Figma file. And we're going to paste it in. Oops, did not work. Okay. I'm just going to type it in then. We build the future with creative work construction. Oh, okay. Construction. And we need to add the E here. Perfect. And we're going to kind of position it to look like this. I think this looks pretty good. And I'm going to bring this up right about here for now. Underneath that, we're just going to add a very simple paragraph element. So we're just going to drag this, place it right here, right underneath. And then now we need two buttons. So let's go ahead and grab, or go to add, we'll go to buttons, and we'll drag this one out right here. For this text, we're going to say get in touch. And we're going to set the background color to the red accent color here. We can even show the icon here if we go ahead and turn it on. And for the icon, let's go ahead and change this out to a different arrow. So I'm just going to type in arrow here. And we can try to find one that works for us. So let's just press show all. And let's grab this one right here. Under the layout tab here, we can switch the icon to the right-hand side using this option here. And we'll make the button a little bit longer. And we also want to make sure under the alignment that it is set to the center. Just like that. I think that looks pretty good. And the last thing we're going to do here is set the font to, we'll do made for Wix, or oopsies, just deleted the button. But let's go ahead and grab that button and we'll change the text again. Oops. We'll do Wix made for bold. We'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Then what I want to do is duplicate this button. We'll do copy paste. We'll bring this one over here. For this button, we'll say watch video. But for this one, we are going to remove the icon. So we actually need to do that over here in the inspector panel. We're just going to turn off the icon. For the background color, we're going to remove that. And we're going to add a 1 pixel border. And we'll make this a white color. And we will raise the, oh, never mind. Where is this? Oh, okay, it's there. And we will kind of change the size a little bit. We'll place it right next to our other button here. And we'll grab both of these. And we want to kind of group these together. So what we're going to choose is stack. And now it's going to create a horizontal stack for us. And then we can stack this other content together by using our shift key. We can grab both of these, or all three of these elements. So the stack, the paragraph, and the heading. And we'll stack these together. Then we can go ahead and center this text inside of this little box here, and it looks pretty nice. For the next section here, let's go ahead and select the section, and we'll add a new section. This section is going to be for the about us area. So let's go ahead and start by giving us 800 pixels. We're not going to need that much, but we can shorten it a little bit later. And this section is going to be split into 2 columns. So we'll go ahead and press this option here, and we'll notice we have 2 cells. And With this section, we're also going to apply that 5.3 VW that we applied up here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here. We'll do 5.3 VW and we'll apply that to all sides. And then we're going to want to apply a little bit of a gap here. I'm going to do about 64 pixels, but then I'm going to switch this over to a responsive value. So it ended up being 5 VW. But for consistency, since it's so close to the other one, we're just going to do 5.3. I think that looks pretty clean. Over here, we're going to want to have just an image. So let's go to our media. We'll press show more and we'll grab this one right here. I'm going to move this over here into this cell and I'm going to resize it so that it fits here in this cell here. Another option we have to do this is we can set this width to be 100%. And then once we have the width set, we can go into the settings and reset the proportions here. And I think that's an easier and more reliable way to do that. But we're just going to send it to the top and then we can grab the section and we can remove the height. So we should have something that looks like this now. Over here on the right hand side, we're going to want to have some text. So we'll grab a heading 6 here because it's going to be like a mini title. And it's going to say about us. For the responsive behavior, we'll set this to hug, and that's going to remove all of the extra space that we don't need from that text element. I want to send this to the top left. Underneath that, we're going to have a little bit of a larger title, so we'll do a heading 2. And I'm going to just size it so it fits here inside of the cell. I'm going to move it right underneath the About Us text. And I'm going to change the text to say our company is ready to solve solutions and to change. And then we're going to add a paragraph text underneath it. And then last but not least, we're going to have a button underneath. But what I want to do is actually grab this button here because I do want that icon. And we're going to paste it. Now this styling of this button is going to be slightly different. So what I want to do is actually remove the background color. Sorry about that. And then for the text, we're going to set this to red. And we'll do the same thing for the icon. And then we'll add a 1 pixel border. And it's going to be that red color. So we should have something that looks like this. Once again, we're going to use our shift key and grab all of these elements. And we'll stack them together. And we will center it vertically. Great. Underneath this section, we're going to have I forget what this kind of section is called, but it's going to have a bunch of like their statistics, I guess. That's a good word for the section. So what we're going to do is start by adding our 5.3 VW to the sides, and we'll apply it to all sides. I am going to remove it from the top of this section though. And I actually want to split this section into 2 rows first. For this top cell here, I actually just want to add a line because it's just going to be a small little divider. So we'll go quick add, we'll do line, and I'm going to set the width to be 100%. Or 100%. There we go. And then I am going to lower the opacity to like 10%. So now we should have like a little faint line that looks really nice. And I'm going to send it to the left and top. And for this cell itself, I'm just going to bring it all the way up. And we're going to add a little bit of a gap in between. Let's do 5 VW. I think that looks nice. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. And then inside of this, we're going to add a repeater. So let's go ahead and drag this out into the bottom cell. We're going to stretch it. We're going to add an item because we want 4, but we do want 4 across. So what I'm going to do is come down to the repeater settings under layout, and we'll set number of items per row from 3 to 4, and it should change it to look like this. And then for the grid gap, let's also change this to be, let's do like 42 pixels, and we can switch this. Oh, it's already on a responsive value, so we're good. For the repeater design, we're just going to remove the background color. Okay, inside of the repeater, let's go ahead and grab this text element right here, the heading 5. The heading 5 is 35 pixels. And we are using, for titles, we are using space grotesque semi-bold, in case you're following along, but that's included in the assets as well. But what we're going to do is send this text to the top left, and I want to set the width to 100%. And we're going to change this text out really quick. So we're doing, we're going to do 4600 for the first, or for the second one, 1300 for the first one, 25 for the third one, and 320 for the last one. Underneath that, we are going to grab this heading 6 font here, but we are going to make this font black, and we're going to send it to the left, and we'll make it quite a bit smaller. And we'll move this right underneath. So this one is going to be happy customers. Projects completed. Years of experience. And last is achievements. Okay. And underneath that, we're just going to add a very simple paragraph text. We'll make it the right size, bring it right underneath. And then for this one, I will say, we'll set the font size to 13 pixels for this one. And then I'm going to grab all of these elements here. We're going to stack them. And now we can actually grab the repeater item height, and we can set it to 0. And then we can grab the height of the section and remove that. So now we should have something that looks like this. And it's just a nice addition to the About Us section. So they learn a little bit about the company, and then underneath they have some statistics that look pretty nice. Okay. Underneath this, we're going to have a section for our quality. So for this one, we are going to make this quite a bit bigger. And what I want to do is actually add a image to the background. So we're going to go to media, and we're going to grab this image here. Let's make it quite a bit bigger. And we're going to send this to the bottom left, or bottom right. And then this part up here, we're going to have our content. So what I'm going to start with is actually grabbing this stack right here. And we're going to paste it inside of this. But actually, let's actually add a container really quickly. So we'll go to quick add container. And we're going to do the same steps that we did with the hero section up here. And to kind of explain why I'm doing this is because since we have this image here, if we add our margin or padding to this, and do 5.3 and apply it to all sides, that's going to move the image that's supposed to be in the background, and we don't really want that. So if we reset this back down to 0 and we stretch this container, then when we add that 5.3% padding to all sides, and we remove the background color, we can see that it doesn't affect the image in the background, and we still have the spacing that we want for our content in the section. But now I'm going to go ahead and paste in that stack that we got from the about section up here. I'm going to send it to the top left. Oops. Left and top. There we go. And I am going to unstack this temporarily because we are going to kind of change some of this up really quickly. So for this text, we're going to say our quality. And we'll go ahead and change this text to say the quality of the company to support the development process becomes real. Okay, and we're going to extend this out a little bit. So it's 3 lines. Perfect. For this text, we'll make it a little bit longer. And then in between the button and the paragraph, we want to have like a little, some little bullet points. And I want to create like a custom one. So what we're going to do is add a repeater. For this repeater, I do want to have 1 row or 1 per row. So we should have something that looks like this. We're going to set the height to maybe like 40 pixels of each row. So it's really short. And inside of this, we're going to remove the background color. And we're also going to apply a CSS grid to the item itself. So we'll go ahead and press apply. And we're going to split this into 2 columns. So we'll do 2 by 1. Inside of this left column here, I want to add just a little shape. So we're going to decorative. And I just want a square. So let's grab this one right here. With the size locked, we're going to make this maybe like 13 by 13 pixels. So it's going to be very small. And we're just going to align it to the left and middle. And for the design, we're just going to make it red with no border. We'll just remove that border really quickly. And what I want to do is actually drag this outside of the repeater really quickly. And we'll drag it back in. That way all the designs for all of them are the same. And we'll send it to the left and middle again. There we go. Now what I want to do is add some text over here in the right column. So we'll just go to add text. We'll drag this heading 6 out. We're going to resize it and move it into the right column. Place it in the left and middle. And we'll stretch it. And then for this one, we are going to make sure that we have it set to black. And we'll go ahead and change the text out. Work comfortably and safely. The next one is construction quality. That is always monitored. And then the last one is success for the long term. We'll change, or we'll fix this. There we go. And then what I want to do now is I want to grab this row right here, or this column, and we're going to set the width of it to minimum content. And I just realized that the icon that we were using was still a responsive value. So to fix this, what we're going to do is come over to our basic shape that we have here in the layer panel. And you can see it shrunk down to 0, 0 because we set the column width to minimum content. And we're going to set the minimum width, or the width, to 13 and 13. And I just realized what we actually need to do is either we need to switch this over to a fixed value, or we can come over to advanced sizing. So we can press the 3 dots, turn on advanced sizing, and we can set the minimum width to 13 pixels. And then we can set the minimum height to 13 pixels as well. So now we should have something that looks like that. But now you'll notice we need a little bit of space between the icon and the text here. So if we grab the item, head on over to the layout area, we can add like an 8 pixel gap here. And we can even switch this 8 pixels to a responsive value. So we can either use VW or scale. And I think that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and resize this repeater a little bit. I also want to, with the repeater, I want to get rid of the gaps here. Just like that. And we're going to place this right by the paragraph. We'll bring this this button up. And now we will grab all of this content here, including the repeater, which actually grabbing the repeater is easier to do first. So we'll grab the repeater and then we'll grab the other content and then we'll stack these together. So now with the section, I kind of want to resize it a little bit. So that way this little background image fits a little bit nicer into the content. So we'll raise it up a little bit more. And I think that looks really cool. Perfect. And then for the last section, it's going to kind of be like the I guess case studies or their portfolio work. So let's go ahead and add a brand new section. This section, we are going to choose a black color as the background, and we'll set the height to like 1200 for now. This one also kind of has like a background image similar to this. So what we're going to do is follow the same steps as the section above. So we'll add the background image, which I think is this one right here. You can see it's just like a little faint little graphic, and we'll resize it a little bit. And we will send it to the top right. Perfect. Then inside of the section, we'll add a container. And we will stretch it and remove the background color. And last but not least, we will add that 5.3% padding and apply to all sides. Perfect. For this, I do want to split this into 2 rows. So we're going to add a CSS grid, and we're going to split this into 2 rows, just like that. For the top row, I'm going to grab the stack again up here, and I'm going to paste in the stack, and I'm going to send it to the top left. Now for this one, I don't need the paragraph, and I don't need the button. And then for this heading text, we're going to change this to a white color. There we go. The about us text is going to change to our projects. And this text is going to say construction have been successfully completed. And then what I want to do is get rid of all of this extra space in this row. So we're going to grab this row, and in the layout tab, we're going to set the size to minimum content. And I do want there to be a little bit of space in between the next area. So let's add 5.3 VW of space here. I think that looks pretty good. And now in this area, in this row, we're just going to add a simple repeater. So we'll do a repeater. We'll stretch it. And for the spacing in between the items, I just want to up this to like 24 pixels. And then for the background, we'll remove the background color completely. And then for the item, I do want there to be 2 rows, one for the image on top and then one for the text content. So we're going to go into layout, add a CSS grid, and choose the 1x2 option here. You'll see we now have a line here, so we have space for the image and content below. So in the top one, let's go ahead and add our image. So we'll go to media and we will select our first or second blog image. And I want to put this into the top grid cell, or top grid, and we'll send it to the top left. And we will set the width to be 100%. Then we'll go to the settings and reset the image size. And I think that almost fit perfectly in here. So if we grab the image, we can kind of check. There is 0 margin everywhere, so that's actually kind of crazy how perfectly that fit. But then we're going to want to, with the this grid here, we want to have a little bit of space. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of vertical space. Let's do like 8 pixels for now. We'll try 16. I think 16 works. And all I want to do in this section is just add, we'll do like a heading 6. We'll set this to 100% width, and we'll send it to the left top. And we're going to want this one to be white. Then underneath that, we're just going to have a little bit of a paragraph. Once again, we're going to set the width to be 100%. And we're going to lower the size, the font size, to 13.
Hey, Ryan, really quick.
Oh, go ahead.
We got some questions popping in. At the very top, the hero section, we have a question from Kimberly. Kimberly is asking, for the hero section, why not use the section background feature rather than what we did before here, which was just place an image in? Is it you just feel like building that way is just easier for you, or are there things in the past where maybe the background feature didn't work as you intended it to work? What are your thoughts?
I will say it is just easier for me because back when like Editor X first came out, I don't think there was an option for background for sections, so I just got used to adding the image and stretching it as the way to add a background image. But in this case, it makes perfect sense to do that. However, for sections like this, where let's say this image is not a full like section background, if that makes sense, you're going to want to follow my method of doing it. But for something like this, where the image is like big enough to fill the whole background, you can use the section method. So like, I'll show you real quick. You can just select the section and you can add an image to the background. That works perfectly for the hero section that we have. We can just make it a little bit bigger, so you can kind of see it does the same exact thing. However, if I was to do it with the sections below and I just add this graphic to the background, you'll see it kind of takes up the entire screen, and that's not what we were going for the sections below. So for the hero section, it definitely makes sense to do it that way. So you can kind of do it both ways for the hero section, but for this section and this section here, it does make, we would have to do it like the way I showed, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. And one last thing before we jump back to what we're doing, is this a Wix font? Nina is asking, what font is this?
So the font for the heading font, this is Space Grotesque. And then for the paragraphs, I am using the Wix made for text.
Got you. I knew I heard Wix in there, but I was like, we got to go back and ask. I've been blasting. Go ahead.
I think for the Figma file, it's like a paid font that I don't actually own. So I think the closest thing, or one of the closer options, was Wix made for. So I think it just looked clean. So
we just had to make do. It's perfect.
Exactly.
Thank you, Ryan.
Oh yeah, of course. Happy to answer any questions. Before this part now, what I want to do is I actually just want to add another button really quickly. Let's actually grab this button from over here and we will paste it down here. And actually, I'm going to drop this outside of the section really quickly, or the repeater really quickly. And I'm going to change the text to say read more. And then I'm going to drag it inside of the repeater. That way I don't have to change every single of the items inside of the repeater manually. And then we're going to align this button to the left. But what I want to do is actually go into layout. And I want to align the content to the left. And then for the design, I want to remove the border. And then for the button state for like hover, I do want the text. I think the text can be like a lighter red, but I do want to get rid of the fill and oh, I gave it an outline color. Oops. I want to change the actual text color to the lighter. Okay, perfect. I think that looks clean. And we'll also go ahead and resize the button to be a bit smaller. Okay, so now we can grab all three of these elements. We'll stack these together. And I'm not going to change the titles because they're kind of long in the design, but to make it look a little bit nicer, I am going to change out the images just really quickly. And then the last thing I want to add here is kind of like the date for when it comes out. So in the design, there's like a little container that shows the date. So what we're going to do is add this container here. We're going to change the color to red. And then we're going to add some text inside of it. So let's go to this one and we'll grab the heading 6. We'll do heading 6 for now. And we'll make this text white. We'll set the responsive behavior to hug. And we'll make sure it is centered inside of the box. And we'll do the date here for all of these. There we go. And what I want to do is with this box here, or actually with the text, before I forget, is I actually want to turn off scaling text for this, just because what we're about to do would kind of do what we did up here with the these little icons. It would make it kind of disappear and make it look not as we intended. So now that this text is not I guess responsive, what we can do is grab this container here, turn on advanced sizing, and we're going to change the width to max content. And what we're going to do is grab this text now, and we're going to add a little bit of margin. So let's see what like 12 pixels on the left looks like. I think that looks pretty good. So we'll do that to the right hand side as well. And then for the top and bottom, let's add maybe like 8 pixels. Oops. I didn't realize it locked. So let me add 12 pixels to the left and right again. There we go. And now I can grab the height of this container and bring it all the way up. And now we're left with like a little box just like this. And if I grab the container, just make sure to have that selected, we can send this to the top left. And now we should have something that looks like that. And then the last thing we need to do is I'm actually going to the last thing we need to do is get rid of the height here. So to do that is I'm going to grab this top row here, and I don't want this. I kind of just want the height to be a viewport value. And then for the bottom one, we're just going to set the bottom row to minimum content. And then we're also going to go up to the very top, and we'll see that the item has a height. So we're just going to set this to 0. And that kind of changed the way this looked. So let me try to figure this out really quickly. I might set the top row to just minimum content. Yeah, that worked. Okay. And then I think the only thing controlling the height here now is the main section of the actual section, or the main grid for the section. So what we're going to do is grab this second row and set this to minimum content. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the section itself, which we need to grab the section using the breadcrumbs, and we're going to remove the height just by setting it to 0. So now if I go ahead and preview the website, this is going to be the construction, I guess, landing page built inside of Wix Studio.
Once again, beautifully done, Ryan. And a lot done in just 43 minutes. Honestly, 10 minutes I was talking. So in 30 minutes. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful work. We have one last question. And guys, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, if you guys have any questions, feel free to start pulling them in. We have about 20 minutes left. We have Yit's question for you, Ryan. Basically, he's asking, when you're all said and done, I know we're not going to do it today, but what is your process when you start jumping to other breakpoints, tablet and mobile?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So for typically, my process kind of begins with going through like all the text elements and setting like a min and max value for them. So for example, for paragraphs, I never want them getting smaller than 13 pixels. So I'll go to the minimum value and set them to 13. Now, typically I will say I will do this at the very beginning. So that way, if I copy and paste this section or this stack, like I have done for this section and this section, all the paragraph text that I've copied will always have this value here already set for me. So I don't build this in the most optimized way, but I do typically set up the min and max values for the fonts, and then I will go through the different breakpoints and kind of check how everything is looking. And then for, I guess, like more basic sections, I guess you can call it, like this one here, I will probably do like responsive AI, because I have like full confidence that it's going to basically do exactly what I want. But things that I think might be a little more complex, like this one here, like I don't want like this text to ever go on top of this image, and if it does, I want to control it a little bit better. So like for mobile, this doesn't look the best, so I might change the mobile layout completely. But I would say for tablet, this looks pretty good as is. I will say in Wix Studio, the tablet breakpoint typically always looks exactly how I want it to. Bless you.
Well, thank you. I even muted it. Everybody felt that one. Thank you. Kimberly, while blessing me, is saying, why don't you use Max? I'm not sure if I timed that well with what she was referring to, or the context.
Like
Kimberly, what is
Max
the
content for
I'm
font
assuming
sizing?
so.
I'm guessing she means like with the fonts. And my guess, or like if this is what you're talking about, I just think with like fonts, you want them to be like responsive on all breakpoints, or like on even larger screen sizes than what you're building on. So I don't typically set a max. I might set a max on like tablet and breakpoint, or tablet and mobile breakpoints, to prevent them from being too big on these screen sizes. But for for desktop, I don't typically set a max. But yeah. But
Gotcha.
I would be
Noted.
interested in creating like and doing a whatchamacallit, a tablet and mobile breakpoint make it Monday here pretty soon.
No, I think that would be awesome for. I know that gets a lot more complicated, but if we are able to, we could even take one of the ones that you have done in the past and be like, all right, this is, we've already done this for this Make It Monday. How are we going to approach this from a mobile tablet perspective and crunch this baby down?
Exactly.
That would be awesome. All right, let me see. I think there's one more question. So this was another responsive question. This section that we're looking at right here, the quality of the company to support that one. If you were to make this, when you crunch this down to tablet and mobile, how would you deal with the illustration? I think the question specifically was, when we get down to mobile, we have very limited real estate. Would you keep the illustration? Would you just have the background white, or would you just scale it?
I would keep it. I'm not gonna like worry about the text or anything, but for this section, I might make it a little bit taller, and then have like the text kind of position the text or change the sizes of the text to look a little bit nicer for this section. Another option, even though this might not work for this particular section, but oftentimes like you might want to move this down, and you can actually grab this stack and align the items to the center, and then place the stack in the center. You know, something like that might look good as well. If, you know, given we changed the sizing of the button and everything looks a little bit better proportionately. But that's also an option to do it like that. But if y'all are interested, maybe we can use this website for the tablet and mobile design.
Kimberly votes yes. She votes yes, but I was like, no, there's cooler ones. But I guess we can use this one. I guess we can use.
I mean, we can also use the AI robot one. That one was pretty cool.
Yeah, but either or is very cool. We'll put a poll up in the community, guys, today to see. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just do it right here because you guys are chilling.
That's great. Yeah.
Actually, guys, this is giving me anxiety. It takes me so long to write this. I'm just going to put it in the community, and you guys are going to have to deal with it. So that means you guys... I'm only 5 words in, and I don't know if this is going to be spelled correctly. Let me see. It says asking... Yitz, did you ask something? Let me see. How would you stack ones below? Huh? Yitz, what do you mean? What are we stacking? While you do that, you'll probably give me some time to write this out in the what's it called. So I'll use this time to very quickly write 3 more words. Alright, so let me see. The section below on mobile. Huh? The section below on mobile?
Okay, so maybe he's talking about like on mobile.
Underneath the construction
right
successfully. Here? Okay, gotcha.
Gotcha. For this one, kind of the same as I would do up here, except with this one, I might change like from 3 across. I might just go to layout and change this to 1 across. And that's just going to stack them vertically rather than horizontally. And then, of course, again, I would adjust the fonts and stuff to make it look a little bit nicer. But we would have a more stacked layout here.
Very nice. All right. And that's why I really like Wix Studio. Just makes it so much easier, where all you have to do, if you have repeaters, you have stacked content, you have layouters of content, all you have to do is just, instead of a horizontal layout, let's change it to vertical, and it's that easy. And I think
like a couple clicks, it's super easy.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, I feel like the only things that I find myself really changing are the sizing of the text, the orientation of content, and the sizing of text when it comes to tablet and mobile content. So
exactly.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Well, if you have no more questions, or if you're trying to figure out what questions you have, just remember every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have some amazing things in our community Discord. You can join us down in the links to the new form community. So, with that said, you have any closing remarks for us, Ryan?
I just want to thank everyone for hanging out and watching this today's Make It Monday. If you want to see more Wix and Wix Studio stuff, you can check out my channel down below.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us in 2023. Again, we have Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We have more Wix-related content in our Discord only. So if you haven't joined, join us there so you can ask on Tuesday any questions that you might have built up from today. You can ask not only me, but the actual Wix team in our Discord tomorrow. We'll go live with you and try to figure out anything that you are dealing with in Wix Studio, any walls that you've hit, etc. So with that said, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your 2023. Join us for some of our last events in our Discord this week, and we've got some awesome content ready to show you guys in January. So I'll see you guys later in the Discord tomorrow, and on Wednesday, Ryan will see you later as well. Happy holidays, and see you guys soon, guys.
Happy holidays.
Peace. Bye.